For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Thursday edition of Talking Horses as we kick off another week of live racing. This is the Big A Stabile, and I'm the little
also
A.
known as Anthony.
Also known as Anthony. I was saying the Big A and the little A.
The Big A Stabile, the little A Courtney. Here we are.
Your Twitter handle is at the Big A Stabile. I'm just saying. I was saying the Big A and the little A, like, you know, the A train.
Choo-choo.
You ruined my intro.
Wow.
I'm just saying.
All right.
It's nice to be here, though.
You got it, Andy. I mean, Acacia.
Filling in for Andy this week. You know, before Andy left, he said I should do an entire show as him, just to torture you.
There is so much I can say right now, and I'm just going to let it go.
Well, we're happy to have you with us. It'll be fun. As you can see, we're having a good time already talking horses with Anthony Stabile and Acacia Courtney, as it is a new week of live racing. We hope that you are signed up to play along with us on Naira Bets. If you're not, new members can use the promo code MATCH200. Go to NairaBets.com for details. Get that $200 sign-up bonus when you sign up. We can also have another program over there on Naira Bets with the 50-50. Play Belmont and Churchill. Opt in. Make sure you do that on the app or on NairaBets.com. $50 each at Belmont and Churchill, and you can get a $10 bonus Thursdays in June. And coming up in a couple of days, we'll also have the Saturday contest here at Belmont Park. Cash prizes, that $300 buy-in. Register by Friday at 5 p.m. and play on Saturday in that live money contest. Go to naira.com/contests for more information. And then coming up a little bit later on, as it is Twilight Thursday, America's Day at the Races, we're on Fox Sports 2 from 3 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. as we have been on Thursdays, with some Belmont and Churchill action a little bit later on.
Last one of those.
Yeah.
Closing Thursday at Churchill. They run Saturday. Fantastic stakes card down there, including the Stephen Foster, where Max Field returns. He'll take on a solid field. I like that field in the Foster. 7 stakes in all, and should be fun.
Yes, it will. Looking forward to all of that action. Of course, we'll have you covered with that as well. But coming up today, we have a 9-race card to look forward to here at beautiful Belmont Park, and beautiful indeed. Very comfortable weather out here today, fast and firm. What more could you possibly wish for being a racing fan? Doesn't get much better than this.
And come on out. It's like it's like the old days now. You walk up, you give us $5, and you come in and you roam the place free as free as you like. Yeah, free as a bird. So come on out. It's like Acacia said, it's a beautiful day. Supposed to have a nice weekend of racing. Amazingly, just 3 weeks left here at Belmont. 3 weeks from today, we open up at the old spa.
July 15th, opening day, 3 weeks from today. But as Anthony said, we've got a lot more stuff coming up here. We kick things off at Belmont on the turf, on the inner turf, in fact. 6 furlongs for race number 1, $40,000, non-winners of 2 in life for fillies and mares. And this was a race, Anthony. We do have the rematch between Appreciate and Ginger Kitty back from that June 6th race. And Appreciate, the one to beat just on how consistent she's been, but it's been a while since she's seen the winner's circle.
Yes, it's been a long while, Acacia, but this horse has come back. This mare, now 6, has come back from the February to April 10-week layoff break, if you will, and she has been a model of consistency at a level you don't ordinarily see it. She went from a 59 to a 68 buyer in 4 starts over the course of 7 weeks. So that shows me 2 things. She's certainly, she's fit. She's running every 20 days or so, and she's running well. You know, even the race where she was 7th when she was beating a little less than 3 lengths, 3 starts back. That Corey scores, Ava Kay's girl, and Days Ewing, they're probably a little bit better than the bunch she's facing today. And her last 2 starts, she was right there on the money. Like I said, that 68 rather last time, the best figure she's ever earned. She's in career form. Like you said, she doesn't win a lot. But I felt like of the horses that had the best chances in here, and of the horses that are going to take the most money, her consistency and the fact that she's kind of, quote unquote, been knocking on a door, I'll take a chance with her in the middle lane. She'll be right around the morning line, I would think, 3-1, 7-2. I like Appreciate today.
She's been trending in the right direction for sure. That 63, 64, 68, she's moving upwards. And Ginger Kitty off the layoff ran fine behind her. Actually, they were just separated by a neck. I thought Appreciate a little bit stronger there in that finish. And with a horse like her last win was May 10th, 2019. That's when she broke her maiden, and she's 1 for 39 now with 8 seconds and 8 thirds. I respect her, and John Toscano has her sharp right now, clearly. And I said, let me see if there's someplace else I could go. And Quantitative Breeze, and I really didn't love her, but she was definitely one of the lighter raced ones in the field. And her turf race 2 starts back, which at the time I questioned how strong that was, but we did see Sport Model come back to win the Cupco's Joy this past weekend.
Yeah.
A couple others have run well out of that, and she, I thought, was trying to run down Sport Model. She broke her maiden on the dirt, but I think she's better on turf, and I thought needed that race 2 back. So maybe she's one that's just improving and perhaps finds the right spot.
Yeah, she can win. I didn't want her as the chalk, and she'll be the chalk in here, I would think, when the other 2 fillies who figure to take money, they don't have as high-profile connections as Brad Cox. I would imagine she's the favorite. I'm not so convinced her winning the mud last time out wasn't her best race, and that bothers me. And this is from the school of Serling. I don't know if I want to be betting horses with their best figures on another surface.
Sure.
In a race where, you know, they're at this bottom rung of the claiming ladder. And 40,000 is still a pretty hefty price tag, but that's the bottom here for the 2 Life on the turf. I don't know. She can obviously win this race, and like you said, she could be just be getting better. I think she's going to be a considerable enough favorite over Ginger Kitty and Appreciate to take a little bit of a swing against. She can obviously win the race, though.
Yeah. We'll see who gets the money in that non-winners of 2 in the openers. They turn the page, and everybody looking for the first win of their career in race number 2. This is a maiden special weight for fillies and mares, going 6 furlongs on the main track. And I think that it kind of revolves, Anthony, around the number 1 Grand Ave Girl. It wouldn't take a monster effort from a first-time starter, I think, to be successful in this spot.
It wouldn't. She got a couple of nice gate breezes down at Monmouth Park. Her daughter of Run Happy, who has really come, these 3-year-olds have really come around. Whether they debuted at 2 or they're just getting to the racetrack at 3, I think he's going to be A-okay as a sire, and these horses are starting to run to, I think, the promise that he had. I don't know much about this horse. This horse is at Monmouth. This was something that a few years ago would have certainly bothered me, but Chad Brown's won with so many of the Monmouth horses here in New York that I don't really give it a second look anymore. I love the fact that this horse that her 2 gate breezes came before her last 2 workouts. Ordinarily, you see the gate breeze and then a little maintenance breeze. Chad opts to give her 2 solid gate breezes, a couple of 48, 148 and change, 148 out of the gate, a couple of nice works from the pole, 1 at Monmouth, 1 here at Belmont afterwards. I don't love anything we've seen run. In fact, I think the only other horse you could pick on top in here would be the horse you put on top, Sand and Sea.
This I thought was interesting. The thing about Grand Ave Girl, so her last workout you brought up here at Belmont, that workout's available on XBTV, which is a great resource to have with some of those workouts too. She looked a little smaller to me. Maybe she was just working with a very big horse, and she looked very keen, and I'm sure that's the reason for the gate works too, and maybe channeling that energy. So if she breaks sharply from the inside, I would say that it's probably all over from then. But I did give Sand and Sea, who drew in off the main track only list in her debut, and she lugged in a little bit late. She was wide, but she was off a little bit slow. Just green first time out from an outside post on a very wet track, and thought that she was one that, having one start under her belt, could move forward. It's not like they tried to run her on the turf. She was a main track only that day. And with the experience, and talk about workout, a pretty sharp workout on the training track since.
Yeah, she took a lot of money. She was 2-1 in her debut, and it was a big enough field. It was a field of 9.
Yeah.
I don't know how well she handled the slop. She didn't get off that well that day. I think there's a good chance she is going to be the favorite. If we look at the doubles right now, it looks like the Chad Brown Firster is taking some money. But her and Sandon C, Grand Abigail and Sandon C, I think my biggest issue with her is the fact that I think she'll take money again. And I know that it doesn't mean that much, but she was bred to really like a wet track first time out, and she did not do much running at all. That doesn't have to necessarily mean anything, but it is something when you combine that with the fact that she did not break well. I wanted to give her another look. I actually got a little push in here on the number 4, Beautiful Farewell. And this is something that Andy and I talked about last weekend. The Mike Stidham horses, they're having a tough time of it here right now. They're having a tough time of it at Delaware. He's got his second win at Delaware from like 20 starters yesterday, and it was a 3-5 shot off the turf 4-horse field. I heard this horse come on a little bit, and then I went back and I watched the 2 replays. I actually liked this horse last year in Saratoga.
Me too.
Her one race at Belmont was okay. I thought her race at Saratoga. Now, I know her race at Saratoga came back, the figure came back a little slow, but the fillies in that race might be okay. And you see her now off the long layoff. She gets Lasix for the first time in her 10-month return. Again, she's apparently been training well down in Maryland. And I think Monlove will take some money. Saying that she's going to take some money, Grand Ave Girls will take some money. I think pari-mutually she could get lost in the shuffle. She's
an interesting one because she faced the boys first time out at Belmont. Then she ran in what at the time seemed to be a pretty solid 2-year-old race. I mean, spun Daytona out of that, came back with a 74 buyer next time out. And you'd imagine that was races as a 2-year-old. She should improve coming back here. So we'll see if she can turn things around for the barn. We're back on the turf for race number 3, 6 furlongs on the grass in this maiden special weight for 3-year-olds and upward. And we have another rematch. And another Chad Brown runner, Digital Future and First Law, coming out of the same race where Digital Future nearly wiped out half the field at the break.
Yeah, you'll see Digital Future here in those red and white of Klarovich. Lug in a little bit, take out a couple of his next door neighbors. From here, this horse ran really well. I mean, overcame the self-imposed trouble at the break, attended the pace that was set by First Law, who's back in here. You know, I mean, he did everything but win. I mean, he did everything right here. He put First Law away. He just could not hold off after 5.
Who was the favorite?
Who was the favorite for Wesley Ward? This was a 3-win day for Wesley Ward, who all of his horses have come up here firing their best shots. If this horse runs back to that race, they're all going to be running. I would think they're all running for second money.
Yeah, I couldn't get around him either. I landed on him. Tell me about the Big Gray. You gave a little look to him.
Yeah,
I didn't know what to do with him.
Dan was 2 for 10 on the turf, earned 101,000. First for Jeremiah Englehart. Joel Rosario seems fit to ride, daughter of son of Mizzen Most. Gelded for his first start. I always find that to be a little curious. That always piques my interest a little bit. And quite frankly, Acacia, I didn't see what there was to love about Everesting, the second choice on the morning line, who's cutting back and going one turn for the first time. I didn't know what to do with King James. I put him 3rd. I guess he ran okay last time out, and 2 starts back, but he kind of regressed. Maybe it was a little given the ground last time. He'll get a pair of blinkers. And I think, you know, First Law, I don't know. See, to me, I know the favorite in here today never really gave him any breathing room, but he kind of went a slow enough clip where I would like to have seen him finish up a little bit more. Now, it was his first start in 9 months, so I'm not going to hold it against him entirely. And he has 2-year-old figures, has 3-year-old figures, rather, that were okay as well. So it was kind of hard to really like him. When you think of all of the work Digital Future had to do last time, as opposed to what First Law had to do, you know, for Digital Future to beat him almost 2 lengths, you'd have to think that gap is going to widen with the experience that Digital Future has now under his belt on the grass.
I thought Digital Future overcame a lot more adversity. I think you have a chance to go back and watch the replay of Everesting's last trip. I know it was for 50 and he was the favorite and that was kind of the race that he was supposed to win, but he had a really strange trip last time. He broke well, actually broke almost on top, and then Misael Jaramillo kind of snatched and grabbed, and then he got really headstrong.
Very surprising from that rider too. And
he's good on the front end.
Yeah, he's good on the front end. We've seen it a couple of times now where these horses are coming up from Florida for Saffie Joseph, getting some, you know, not very, no offense to him, but just some not very good rides from Jaramillo. And these horses are coming up here and they're running big races. I don't know if this horse wants to sprint. To me, it looked like he might want a little bit more ground. But like you said, he was ridden so strangely last time that it's hard to really tell. He's going to take money, though, because this barn's horses are hitting on all cylinders, and they're all taking money.
Well, one thing I think, too, is that I've kind of found that the ones that are going the 7.5 or mile at Gulfstream actually tend to sometimes fare really well going the 6 or the 7 up here.
Okay.
Because you're stuck with either, you know, like the 5 furlong turf sprint, which is really tight. You've got to be super fast or you have no chance, or going the 2 turns on the turf there in Florida. And sometimes kind of those in-between turf distances here suit them. And one of my notes from his first start is Everesting is that he was compactly built. So I'm wondering if a little bit less ground and hopefully a better trip under Manny Franco, who has been a little bit more aggressive on the front end.
Okay. Yeah.
Thought process there. We'll see what happens on the 3rd. We'll go to the race number 4. We've got a 16,000 non-winners of 2 in life, 1 mile on the main track here for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upward. And you land on the number 4, A Fleeting Glance.
I had a tough time with this race when I first cracked the form open.
Yep.
And then I probably spent the most time on this race than I did on any race on this
I think
card.
I did too.
Yeah, I mean, it was a tough race. And then I just decided that I wanted to try and find some alternatives to the favorite. Irresistible Girl, I think there are a lot of signs pointing the wrong way for her.
Sure.
She broke the maiden for the special weight. It was not a very fast race, although it was faster than anything she had run prior. Yet Brad Cox still saw fit to drop her in for the 2 life instead of giving her a shot. Now look, Brad Cox wins as many races as he wins because he's not that much of an incurable optimist. He runs these horses where they belong. She wasn't going to win a New York Bred A other than with a 67 buyer figure. But she went right in for the tag. And she, as you would expect, with all of her conditions, got snatched for the 30. 5 weeks. Cuts in half, and this isn't one of those races where you're running for the 25 and the pot's 55. You're not getting out on her if she wins and gets claimed today. You're still losing some money. I thought she had a lot of holes, and I thought part of the reason to play this race was to try to beat her today.
That's fair. That's certainly fair. I maybe fell for the trap, but one of the reasons that I
wouldn't say it's a trap, and I'm not looking to go after the horse you picked.
I understand, yeah.
It's, to me, there are way too many red flags for me, not even based on today, the lead up to today, which is keeping me away.
Here's my biggest question about her. And one thing that your horse, A Fleeting Glance, does have is a win at the distance. And some of the others in here, I actually nearly put, hey, it's Tati on top, because I thought that she may try to wire the field. But I just don't think that she wants to go the distance. And some of the others in here have not even had experience or run well at the distance. You've got Blue Paint, who won at a mile at Parks last time with a super slow pace, setting the race there. It just didn't really trust her. And Irresistible Girl has run well at the mile before. I know that she drops in, but my thought process was that this was kind of where she belonged. And typically horses that are claimed for 30 and you drop them in half right away, that's not something that I'd want to see. And she's going to take money because they ride Ortiz as a board. To me, I just kind of kept going back to her because I kept having questions and concerns about everybody else that she faces.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
That's fair enough. I went to A Fleeting Glance has run well since an October break. Again, just about another 10 weeks when Jeremiah Englehart moves the horses out of Finger Lakes and down to Aqueduct for the winter. She ran well enough, and that maiden 20 in the mud. She probably, it looks on paper like she ran better. That pace collapse, she almost had to make up some ground that day. And her other 2 wet track races were abysmal. She comes back, she loses the rider. And then her next 3 races, last time out again, she catches the slop. I don't think she wants to slop. You go back to her races 2 and 3 back, they absolutely make her a player in here. I think you can say the same thing about the 5, make or break. She hasn't seen a fast track since February 12th. It's been sloppy or turf. And even the turf had some give in the ground. I mean, she's like the rain dance queen, this horse. It pours when she's in.
I think she's finally going to get a little luckier today if something crazy happens.
And again, her fast track races make her competitive in here. So I didn't really like Irresistible Girl. I thought, hey, it's Toddy like you. She's probably going to get to the lead. I would imagine Blue Paint is trying to keep up with her early.
Especially with Magically Delicious out.
With Magically Delicious out, it makes, hey, it's Toddy's job a little bit easier. The horse that I want to use in here, and I'll have on my pick 4 and my pick 5 tickets, is the number 8, Stay Home Mama. I don't trust the rest of them. I don't know if this filly's going to want to go a mile. But I would imagine Jose Lezcano stretching out is going to keep her a little bit closer. If I don't trust the speed, maybe she's the first one to come calling on them. She's going to be double digits. Even with the scratch, I got to think she's going to be 10-1. She's the horse. I almost put her on top. Her figures are just so slow. She'd need to jump up, going the mile, and nothing has indicated she will. But maybe she trips out today under Jose Lezcano.
She does come out of a pretty good race sprinting. Last time we saw Honey Money come back to win again with a 71 buyer speed figure. Race number 5, 1 mile and an 1/8 on the inner turf for this New York bred allowance. This is an interesting race, and I guess the biggest question is, what do you do with Regal Speaker, who ran really well last time? The barn is, though, 1 for 16 at the meet, something we've talked about, and the winner, Straw into Gold, set the pace. He tried to run him down coming from off of it.
So you can look at this 2 ways. One, the barn's going very, very slowly right now. 2, this filly ran the best. This colt ran the best race of his career in the midst of that slump.
Yep.
Right, he was almost a slump buster here, and he beat a horse in Straw. He got beat by a horse in Straw into Gold, who might be okay for Clement.
Yeah.
So I'm the first guy to pitch these cold barns. I think you have to use this horse today. Now, David has this horse 2-1 on the morning line.
He does have Irad Ortiz.
If he's that price or shorter, I would reevaluate things, because when you try to wake these barns up, you want to do it at a price. Now, a guy like Danny Gargan, those horses are never going to be 12-1. I shouldn't say never, but almost never going to be 12-1. Do I want this horse at 2-1, 9-5? Absolutely not. I got 3 or 4 other horses in here I could use. I thought the board would be a little bit more widespread, but David's normally right about these things. I can't trust this horse off that 1 fig, and that 1 fig is so much better than everything else that scares me as well. So, I mean, he can win, but the more I look at things and I see in that morning line, if he's a short price, I would probably fade him today.
And typically it seems like every horse that Irad Ortiz is on does take a lot of extra money, so he could be pretty short in here. I landed on Point Him Out. I'm going to try to wake up another barn, but the thing is that I've always really liked this horse, and something to tell you wired the field last time. He wasn't too far off of it. He kind of ran in place a little bit, but it was the first race off a layoff since October. I think he wants the distance, whereas some may be stretching out. He's been kind of knocking at the door at this level, and I liked that Javier Castellano put him a little bit closer last time. But I think he's better when he can have a little bit more punch and coming from a bit more off of it. So second off the bench.
Probably a little keen coming off the long layoff last time. I don't love the fact that we see him now. I mean, it looks to me like Stidham wants to run this horse to 9 because he skipped an A other than and is running him straight into this, right? He skipped the 7 furlong race, and I think he skipped a mile in the 16th race to run him the mile and an 1/8. Yeah, I mean, if you're making a big spread ticket, I would be using this horse. I thought the number 10, Manny's Express, was a little interesting. Looked like a horse who needed to race off the layoff last time. He ran into a couple of nice sprinters and 3 Outlaws and Scuttlebuzz. Scuttlebuzz has never been off the board sprinting on the turf. 3 Outlaws been okay. When he left to go on his little vacation here for 6.5 months, he ran into Sanctuary City, who's won against Open Company now. I don't know. I know this horse was claimed back in August, and he hasn't had great results, but now he got the freshening. He's got the smile on the 16th race. He's got the 6 furlong race under his belt to stretch out. I would imagine, we mentioned Point Him Out being closer. I would imagine Luis Saez is going to send this horse from the outside today and try and boss this bunch around on the front end. His best race is when he tried to do that under Farron Peterson back in November at Aqueduct. She gave this horse a great ride. I would imagine that Louis is going to try and do the same thing today at a little bit of a price. So 10s and 7s, the Golden Door, fresh gelding for Donk.
I wanted to put him on top. Yeah.
I thought about that too.
Yep.
He's run well. Looks like distance.
No speed.
No speed at all.
Yeah.
And but it does look like distance is going to be his friend. He's a fresh gelding. Dave's won 7 races at the meet. Always good to see Dave winning races. Dave's a good trainer.
Had a nice 2-year-old firster.
Nice 2-year-old firster. 2 actually. The other one got beat the other day, right?
Just
got beat.
Yeah.
David has his horse second choice on the morning line. He's another one I probably want a little bit of a better price if I'm playing him in the win pool. But if I'm betting pick 4s and pick 5s rather. Yeah, and early pick 4s. This horse is on my tickets.
That'll be a fun one for sure, but there's a lot more races to come. We'll take a quick time out on Talking Horses, and when we come back, we'll go over the late pick 4. Stay with us.
Make business meetings exquisite. Make a weekend outing exquisite. Make a late night snack exquisite. Make a night on the town exquisite. For nearly 150 years, the Saratoga Spring Water Company has been producing the finest spring water available anywhere. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Welcome back to the Thursday edition of Talking Horses, presented by Saratoga Water. You have a nice little
I watch you.
emphasis with that.
I watch you.
I appreciate it.
I'm glad you don't watch me for my techniques and habits, but I do watch you. I learn.
I just commented on your technique.
You know what else I learned? Mohegan Sun.
Mohegan Sun.
All my work, all the work I've done up at the Mohegan Sun.
Yeah.
It's all open. No, they will never point at you.
No.
They actually go
That's
to
like when you go to
they actually go to
Disney.
retreats and stuff. Yeah, they don't point at you or anything.
Yeah.
I've had Sherry and Brian with me up at Mohegan
Yeah,
Sun.
yeah.
They were there for my torturous mandaloon beat this year. Good memories. Can't wait to see everybody.
Good times. Good times. Brian Courtney's birthday coming up on Sunday.
That's right.
Yeah.
I knew it was the 26th or the 27th. I can't remember.
Yeah, coming up. But I know he's watching. He's tuned in wherever
always
he
tuned
is.
in, yes.
He's our biggest fan.
Yes.
Well, race number 6 coming up here, 7 furlongs on the turf. New York bred, $40,000 maiden race here for fillies and mares. And we both go to the outside. Write this down. This one on the drop in class, a turn back for George Weaver. I just kept going back to this one.
It's made a lot of sense. Tried to run this horse on the turf first time. Left the horse in. Probably just wanted to get the horse started in the slot. Actually didn't run that bad. He got third money from the rail. Comes back, attends the pace first time going along on the turf. Gets Lasix for the first time. Trevor McCarthy's out in California. Joel Rosario climbs aboard, drops down. George's numbers are good on drop downs.
Yeah.
This horse just made.
And it's a
You know
small.
what, Acacia? He
What?
almost made too much sense.
I know. It looked too easy in a field like this where you're kind of thinking, what kind of crazy thing is going to happen in here? I thought perhaps Kaz's Princess, who was a little bit shorter on the line than I had anticipated, but does have speed. And Constitutional Rage, she got really headstrong out of the gate last time. I had to check back. She's one on the drop and blinkers on. Maybe we'll see a little bit of improvement from her.
Yeah. I would give Undetectable a second chance as well for Jorge Abreu. She struck Sport Model.
Yep.
When during the spill back at on opening day here at Belmont Park. Thankfully, everybody seems okay. I thought she was traveling nicely on the grass. It was her first time on the grass. I'll tell you what, she better have traveled nicely on the grass because our dirt races were not very good. She's going to be a big price in here, I would think. You know, at least that 10-1. I could use her. I could certainly use the 11, Theodora Grace, who's making her first start on the turf. She's a noble mission for Tommy Albatrani. She drops down her first start in 11 months since her dirt debut at Saratoga. And Not a Trace, the number 6, was a little interesting for me. Gets a pair of blinkers, stretches out off 2 dirt sprints, one at Gulfstream Park against Open last time for the 40, ran against Quantitative Breezing, kind of chased that day. Stretches out for the 3rd start, goes to the turf for the 3rd start, gets Luis Saez with Kendrick on the bench. Got to deal with Barrel Bliss early in number 2, but I wouldn't be surprised if Not a Trace was forwardly placed.
That's an interesting race for sure. It looks like it revolves around Write This Down, but doesn't have to have much go wrong for something crazy to happen, so it seems. Such as horse racing, right?
Yes.
We'll go on to race number 7 here, mile on the main track, $25,000 claiming race for fillies and mares 3 and up. And this was a race where Daria's Angel has those last 2 big wins. Now goes out for Mike Maselli. Can she make it 3 in a row as we take a look at her last start?
Yeah, I noticed before we talk about her, Joel Rosario is going to ride the 2 customer experience. Thoughts to Mike Luzzy. Hope he's doing all right. He broke his ankle in an incident over the weekend. He's going to miss 8 weeks. Hope Mike's doing okay at home. Mike, we're thinking about you. Joel Rosario is going to ride this one. Daria's Angel is the kind of horse. Is the kind of horse where I think she will go underappreciated by the fans.
She's a tough cookie.
She is. That's a great way to put it, Lule. She's a tough cookie. She won more than 25% of her starts. She's earned almost 400. She's earned over $466,000. So a win today puts her right around $500,000. And I'll tell you what, she has done it the hard way. She was actually my first unofficial stakes winner in the booth. She won the Sis City on our claiming day, our claiming championship day at Aqueduct. She's a cool horse. She wins almost everywhere she goes. She wins at distances from 6.5 to a mile and a 16th. And she could do it on the front end. She could do it from just off the pace. She's never going to hit. I mean, she's earned $466,000. She's never buyered higher than an 82. That is doing it. That is the definition of doing it the hard way. But she's a hard-knocking mare. She always shows up. You know, more often than not, you worry about horses getting claimed. She really runs for any barn she's in.
Yeah.
So I'm not so worried about Mike Maselli, who does a really good job with his horses off the claim. Short numbers, he's 20%. She goes to the lead. Like I said, she makes her own trip. And horses like her, who have a will to win, she wins photos, they're very dangerous. Now, I'm waxing poetic about a horse that's 8-5 on the morning line. But she looks like she's either going to be on the lead or sitting off of Violent Trick if Violent Trick finds her speed. I don't know where that speed went for Violent Trick. I would imagine part of the entry is going to go to try to keep her company, and part of the entry is going to try to come to pick her up late. I'll tell you what, good luck if you're trying to beat her today. I'm done trying to beat this horse. In realistic spots like this, I'm done trying to beat her.
I like her. I think she's so tough. She's a likable 7-year-old mare. She's consistent as they come, trying to make it 3 in a row. I thought it could be a case where Violent Trick might try to go with her. That would leave perhaps Veradia to try and close, but she's stepping up in class off the claim from Rob Mattress, who she didn't win for Rob for 12.5 last time. I know it was sprinting and she's get her going a little bit long. She just, to me, seemed a little bit of a cut below these. But I thought the customer experience, who is taking a drop in class, and she was picked up for 35 back in October for Rudy, and he did win the starter with her, which I'm sure was the thought process in going for those starter races. I know it's a drop down to the 25,000. She has been sprinting. She's versatile as well, this 4-year-old filly, and I like hearing that Joel Rosario is going to pick up the mount. I thought she was going to get a good trip in here.
She will. I mean, she was going to get one under Mike, who was giving her some fantastic.
Absolutely.
That ride 2 back was sensational when she got the money. Yeah, she figures to get a good trip. If like me, I kind of believe part of this entry has to go.
Yeah, I think so.
And if part of them goes, I would say it's 90% that it's going to be Violent Trick who goes to do the dirty work, because Veradia is probably a little bit more accomplished than she is coming from off the pace. If that's the case, Joel should be sitting third along the inside. You know, the draw here is nice for him. They can leave out of there, and he can just tuck her in from that inside draw. Yeah, she could be dangerous in here. She's just a little too unreliable for me. You know, you look at her races the last 6 months. When she shows up, she's good. When she doesn't show up, she's not been very good. The other mare just, she's like clockwork.
Yeah,
she is. You drop her in the entry box and she shows up.
7-year-old by Gemologist, looking for win number 12 of her career. The feature is in race number 8, 6 furlongs on the inner turf, and the allowance optional claiming for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. Nothing but love for Robin Sparkles, who comes back after that off the turf Mount Vernon, where she was still able to gut out the victory. This is a race 2 starts back in the license fee, where she finished second back on the turf, but she's been game, she's been consistent, and she's quick.
I couldn't have said it better myself. I mean, she does She does it all. I mean, she stretched to the mile last time, and she was stretched. That's the only thing I guess would worry me today. She's coming back in 24 days, a little over 3 weeks. Now, this is also something she's done with success. She's come back. I don't know, though, and it sounds ridiculous. You look at her speed figure, she got a 63 the other day. She ran.
She was begging for the wire. Yeah.
She ran to get that money on Memorial Day. Coming back in 3.5 weeks, how much is in the tank? And she's going to face a situation in here where she's running against a couple of fast fillies. Karak is at least as fast as her, maybe faster. And Jakarta has a little bit of class on. Now, Jakarta was supposed to run on Tuesday at Parks, and they came off the turf. So she's here. She's another one. She's kind of, her speed's been a good weapon for her, but she's also worked out some pretty nice trips. And she's a little off form right now. I don't disagree with that. They've also been, they tried her at the mile in the Honey Fox, and oddly enough, that's been her best race recently.
A huge race.
Now she got to come back. I don't think she can get in front of Robin Sparkles, and even if she can get in front of Robin Sparkles, she can't get in front of Carrick. So that's 2 horses that figure to be in front of her.
This is New York, I guess, at the end of the day is all you can say when you think there's going to be a fast pace. But I agree. I mean, I have nothing but respect for Robin Sparkles, and Bruce Brown's done a fantastic job with her, trying them out for it, and she was able to gut out the victory. But like I said, she was really begging for the wire that day. And she cuts back to her preferred distance, but we'll see how it does play out if she's ready to fire, just like she always has been. And her sprinters can certainly take care of themselves. I thought in that case, Madeline Musk coming out of grade 3 try behind Change of Control and Piedi Bianchi last time out, as we'll show that race. Out of the gate, she ended up getting pretty headstrong too, and she was off a layoff. She wasn't the easiest to settle. She kind of threw her head up here early on. Second off the bench, she can hopefully settle a bit more today and maybe sit behind that pace we talked about.
Yeah. She's the alternative. I don't disagree with anything you just said. I think the 6 furlongs will probably be a little bit better for her than the 7 was last time. She's certainly going to get more pace. Piedi Bianchi was able to control a pretty moderate pace, even though there was some give in the ground last time. I would imagine she's going to get more pace to run into. Yeah, she's the alternative, and I'll tell you what, I'm not ordinarily a person that does this. But if I look at this tote board and Robin Sparkles is 7-5 and she's 7-2 or 4-1, you almost got to take a little flyer on her, because she figures to get the better setup today than the favorite does. Now, if the favorite comes with her A race, they're all running for second money. Even Jakarta, they're all running for second money. But there are some question marks with the favorite today. Ordinarily, I'm a big Robin Sparkles guy. She'd be a heavy leaner, a single. I think you got to use both of them in here. At the very least. Catch a Bid can win too.
That was my next question.
Yeah, Catch a Bid can win this race too.
She faced a really good one last time in Caravel for Liz Merriman, who has just been in great form recently, and she was game in that race. I thought, given who was closing, we could have seen a little bit more punch at Pimlico, but I will say you didn't see too much deep closing on the turf that weekend at all. It was dominated by the horses on the front end. Not
a lot of movement, and her race 2 back, if she gets through, she probably wins.
Yeah.
And that was at 5.5. This could very well be a question of real estate. I don't think she wants to go beyond 7. Maybe 5.5 is too short. Maybe the 6 hits her right between the eyes. And if we feel like Madeline Must is going to benefit from some pace in front of her, this filly's going to as well.
Yep. Not much movement on the turf there at Pimlico. Preakness weekend ran a very game race behind Dixie and Candyland, 2 back at Keeneland. We wrap up on the turf, 7 furlongs, and race number 9 in the nightcap, New York bred, $40,000 maiden claiming here. And the horse that I liked, Shea on a Mission, out of the race here, I default into Masu, who's off the layoff, first time for Rudy Rodriguez.
Yeah, I picked this horse before the scratches. Drop down, cut back, first time Lasix. gets Gerard Ortiz Jr. This could be a complete stink ball, 3-1, suck-in pick, but I didn't like the rest of them. I really didn't see much to like about the rest of them. I'll let you talk about Barre. No, Bar. Right, this is
not the type you drink at, but the type you stand at when you dance.
This is her.
Out
this
of
is her
pirouette.
world. Yes, there's no Monagot in here. If there was Monagot, I would talk about it. We'll let her talk about Bar.
Well, Bar's a tricky one because she was scratched behind the gate back on June 12th. She flipped behind the gate, not in the gate, but behind the gate.
Very subtly, by the way. The rule in New York is when the hind end hits
Right.
the bottom. I mean, she basically, it was almost like a game of hot potato. She just, well, musical chairs. She just sat down very quickly.
Right.
So, and obviously, Christophe worked her. She's fine. You had to work for the vet after
She's
that.
had many
She's fine.
trips to the starting gate since then.
Yeah, so she's good. Obviously a player. And I mean, Massou hasn't run in 8 months. And who's to say Massou can run at all? We both picked the horse in here, the Acacia Default, my top selection. This horse was 89.5 to 1 last time. These horses are ordinarily nowhere near my tickets.
Right.
Unless I wanted to take the firster who we know has gait issues, which is obviously in the back of my head, I defaulted to Rudy and Arad. I'm a chicken. I am. I admit it. You know who you are.
I'm right there with you.
Never forget what you are. Tyrion Lannister said it best. Wear it like armor, and they can never use it to hurt
Well,
you.
there you go. You can't have anybody on Twitter say anything now. See?
Exactly.
There you go. Well, Mazel 18 was 2-1 last time. Gets the blinkers on. It was an overall slow race, but maybe she just finds the right spot in here today and thought that the 1 Lemon Taffy might actually be okay with less distance. We'll see if this one could grab a share or maybe turn things around for the Cantor
Back to
Maltese.
the turf and first time Lasix off a quick turnaround. This filly was claimed 9 days ago.
Yeah, very
Is the
quick.
right math? Yeah, 9 days ago. So we'll see.
Tricky little race to wrap things up, but that'll do it for us here on the Thursday edition of Talking Horses, and we hope that you're playing along with everything on Naira Bets. Got it all fired up and ready today?
Yep.
Ready to roll. If you're a new customer on Naira Bets, go to nairabets.com, download the app, use promo code MATCH200 for that $200 sign-up bonus. See the site for details. We also have the 50-50 available on Thursdays in June at Belmont and Churchill Downs. Make sure you opt in on the app there. Bet $50 each at Belmont and Churchill to get a $10 bonus. Saturday contests, you have until Friday at 5 p.m. to enter for that. It's a $300 buy-in live money contest. You can get cash prizes, naira.com/contest. Then finally, America's Day at the Races today, Twilight Thursday, 3 p.m. We kick things off on Fox Sports 2, Belmont and Churchill action till 8:30 p.m. tonight. This was fun. Let's do it again tomorrow.
Sounds good. I'll be here.
All right.
I
So will I.
promise. I'll be here.
So
All
will
right.
John Imbrial. He's standing by with the reprise of the scratches and changes. Thanks, everybody. Good luck today.